a hand as he comes. And we are going to sit and chat and just do a bit of an interview on where he's been, his journey, who this man is. He writes amazing songs and you see him on stage, but just wanted to go through a bit of a journey, if that's okay. Is that good? It's tough if it's not. That's what we're doing, so.
It's too late now anyway. You're here now, aren't you? So you're going to have to sit through this anyway.
That's good. Well, let me, I remember the first time I ever heard Delirious, which is, Martin was the lead singer of, and started, how many years ago was Delirious actually started?
Well, we were all in the same church on the south coast of England in a small little village called Littlehampton, all right? So it was actually called Littlehampton, but in the end, a big sound came out of a little village, and that was 1992. We started a youth event called Cutting Edge. Every month on a Sunday, we would gather all the young people in the south of England. People were coming from all over the south, and we would just worship like crazy. We'd turn the lights off, turn the music up loud, and it was a real youth movement in the early 90s in Great Britain. And out of that came new songs. The first one we started with tonight came out of just, I think we might need a new song for next month. And so, you know, it's like, what do we need to sing about? Okay, let's sing about the mountains moving, and come on, let's see, you know, our lives set on fire for God. So that's what was happening, and then we did that for 5 years. And then we felt that season was coming to a close, and out of that we then started travelling, and we became Delirious. Yeah.
Really did.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
And so I had moved to America. I remember Dave Jane, I don't know if he's here tonight or not, fellow Englishman, but he gave me this can. And it was a can, like a boot polish can. You remember when you used to polish your boots? Yeah? But it was the CD size. And I remember this cool packaging. On the side it said, break seal for the Spirit to come out, you know, and you opened it and you were ready. And at the time I was really into U2. And if you've heard the Delirious stuff, you know that there is a definitely 80s, 90s feel of U2. I'm not insulting there, that's good, right?
Carry on.
Okay, all right, okay. I am so, sorry. And I remember hearing that CD going a Long War Memorial. My wife was with me, and I said, this is incredible. I haven't heard anything like this coming out of the church. And from that, for me, I started a journey with you guys. At that time, I was on the radio on a Sunday night doing the House of Faith, and they allowed us, on WCIC back then, allowed us to play whatever we could. So really, it became a delirious hour, to be honest. And it started impacting my life. You guys, from that, I know there was a serious car wreck. That you want to explain that, because that was really like the jolt.
Yeah, it was. I'd been married just a year to Anna, and we were travelling somewhere in the middle of the night, and yeah, I did. I crashed my car badly and nearly killed myself, and was in hospital for 2 weeks. I broke my leg and various other things. And it was while I was in there that I felt it was one of those moments of, okay, I've got my life back. I'm going to give this away. What am I going to do? So it was a pivotal moment of 5 families doing this youth event, and then suddenly, right, okay, we're going to go for this and give our lives, everything we're doing, we're going to give it up and just go for this. And then that was the beginning of the band. So it was quite a big thing. We had 3 months to decide whether we were going to do it. And amazingly, and I remember everyone coming to see me in hospital, and I was like, come on, are we going to do this? And then we had 3 months to kind of sell stuff and pack our businesses up and get ready for the new season.
And you did it different than the normal band. The normal band is like wanting to get signed, get a big label. You guys went completely the opposite way.
Yeah, we did. We felt like we had some of the skills within the band to make records, put them out ourselves. I mean, in those days it was CDs, right? So we would make CDs and post them to people and get deals with record stores, and we just thought, well, why don't we just like go direct to like the record stores rather than use a label?
Right.
And so it was a lot of fun. I don't know how we got away with it, but we did. Yeah. Of course, when we came to America, it wasn't so easy. You know, you need a bigger framework.
But in the UK, you had huge success. I mean, not just in, because back then, I explained this to a lot of people, when I was living in England 25 years ago, there was no Christian industry. There was no Christian bubble, if you want to put it that way. No Christian radio.
Still isn't really. Still isn't. Yeah.
And so the way you got your music out, I remember being over in England at a time when I think King of Fools came out, and it got into what we would call the secular charts.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because that's, I mean, okay, let me just put my American hat on. Okay, over here, a lot of Americans, Christians, frown on Christians going secular. But yet in England, because of the way the culture is, I remember way back when Amy Grant did a secular song in the charts in England, and we were like, yes, finally, there's a Christian in the charts. And so it was like the complete different opposite way than over here. It was a monumental time, and that opened a lot of doors for you guys with tours and things. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, well, I think, we live on a small island, so it's a different thing altogether. You can't survive as a musician or a band unless you try and sort of impact the nation that you're living in. So it's in our DNA a little bit more to sort of want to be in church and outside of church at the same time, and that's just in our culture. And and believe it or not, our church leaders will be like, yeah, go for it. Why don't you release a single in the charts? And we did that, and all these Christian kids were going out and buying this music and getting it up the chart, and they felt like they were part of a people movement of, we're seeing revival in our nation. Right. It wasn't really about us selling singles, it was just about these kids believing that we could be history makers, change culture and influence it rather than just follow.
Right.
So that was really amazing, and we all had that sense. And so we ended up doing some crazy things, like actually playing gigs inside record stores on the high street.
Wow.
So I don't know, it'd be like playing at Tower Records or something in New York. And we would set up and just go for it. I mean, we'd be like playing our worship stuff, and there'd be people buying U2 records and thinking, who the heck are these guys?
Yeah.
But yeah, we did. We played in HMV store on Oxford Street once, and like over 1,000 kids came, and the record store was just like, what on earth is this? We were just like, hey, this is the church. It's okay. We're just going to do church tonight in your record store.
Wow. And you got to do some big events. I mean, you opened for Bon Jovi and Bryan Adams and a few others. The Pope, is that correct? Is that right? Tell us about
Bryan Adams and the Pope. Is the same.
About the same.
I didn't meet the Pope, unfortunately, but he was like sort of 10 feet away, and I sort of waved as he went past. But yeah, the Pope does these big things, doesn't he? And big youth gatherings. And this one was in Germany, and there were 1 million people in the field. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. 1 million people, and so I'd like to say that they were all there to see us, but unfortunately they were there to see the Pope.
Yeah. But we can keep that between ourselves.
Yeah,
You can,
yeah.
You know, think
But we did play, and it was just like a sea of people. You know.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Then you came to the States, came here 2003.
Yeah.
We did it earlier. That was the night, I don't know if you remember this, that was the night when we didn't used to have these chairs here. And this was one of the first gigs like that I was responsible for, and these boys are coming from England. Matt Redman was with them, and I was like, we are going to pack this place out. It's the British invasion. That's how we did it on the radio, the British invasion. And back then, the chairs that are in the balcony that are the original chairs from 1903 when this building was built used to be down here, right? And so we used to get 1,600 people in this venue because they were smaller chairs. I really wanted to get a crowd. I don't know if you know this. So we actually printed 1,800 tickets and we sold out. That night was the night, I don't know if you remember, where I had to come out and tell everyone in the balcony to stop dancing because we could physically see the balcony moving. And the aisles were packed. I mean, we crammed everyone in here. And that was one of the first events we ever did here at Riverside, and I've done many, many more since, and you guys came 3 times over the years.
And what was so memorable is that it was the first time we'd ever played in America where we got served up roast beef. And Yorkshire pudding and like all this English stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So we felt at home immediately. But we had all our kids with us, right?
Yeah. And tell us, I was going to talk about the family.
Yeah.
Tell us about your family. I think we've got a picture we can show of the family. I think it should be coming here. It's coming. Yeah. Oh. That's half of them.
Yeah.
It's coming. But there was we'll get the picture up, but there we go.
There we
Tell
go.
us who we've got on there.
Okay, we don't normally dress like this, right? This isn't how we dress every day. But this is my daughter's wedding, actually. She's in the middle. She's married a guy called Tom. And so they're doing great. But in the red is my wife, Anna. And she's just an amazing character. She's the sort of heartbeat of our family, really. And then we've got 2 boys and 4 girls. And the youngest one in the front is Mary, who's 11, and this is no exaggeration. That's the only time in the last 6 years that she's worn a dress. We cannot get her to wear girls' clothes.
But she's a great football player.
Yeah, she plays soccer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's part of the Brighton Academy. And
wow.
So we have a mad life. It's chaotic, and you know there were seasons whenever the kids were off school for the summer, we would bring them to America, and we would tour here, and because it was longer than 10 days, we just would bring everybody.
And the 10 days thing's significant, right?
Yeah, we had a rule that we would never be away longer than 10 days, and we actually stuck to that in the whole of the 17 years.
Wow. And if it was over 10 days, everyone came.
Yeah, everyone.
I don't know if you understand this, when they came here with the crew, the kids, it was like 40-odd people arrived with the Delirious tour. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was 5 families, 16 children, and then all the crew, and so it was pretty mad, wasn't it? As you found out.
Yeah. What you see on the stage here with Martin, it's been a big thing for me that whoever we bring in, that they're the real deal off the stage. And through the journey of my family and Martin's family, we went through a season where we actually lost a daughter. And it was very hard season, and I'll never forget the phone call from mine, closing the Delirious offices down for the day of the funeral, and praying for us. And all the guys were contacting us, and it wasn't just about the stage. That's what I'm trying to get at. It was about friends. And God had a crazy plan in all that. And I know Martin will remember this. That happened in the April. And we had Delirious coming every other year. And they called us and did all that. And then the following April, I think it was April, the band were coming back. And I remember the band pulling in, Martin getting off the bus, seriousness on his face, came to me, "Hey, is your wife here?" "Yeah." "And you guys had on the flight over, Anna had a miscarriage." And because we had knit together through that the year before, Anna and Teresa and me and Martin, that day I felt was a bit of healing for both of us. And so I just wanted to share. I wasn't meant to get emotional, sorry, but I just wanted you to know that what you see and how Martin writes these songs and everything that he touches, it's not so that he can get the name or the glory, but that he wants to give God the glory in whatever he touches, including friends. And so I want to thank you for that. And but in talking to family, where are all you guys at now? I know Ellie is in Nashville.
Yes, my eldest daughter is making music, and she's got a great voice, and that's been amazing to see her grow. You can find her online somewhere. She married a guy called Tom Limebear.
Okay.
So her name is Ellie Limebear, Limebeo. So it's quite an unusual name.
An incredible voice.
So yeah, she's great. She's a good kid and got really worshipful heart, and they're all starting to sort of dabble in music, and yeah, it's cool.
That's good.
It's great.
So you made the transition though a few years back that Delirious was coming to an end about 10 years ago, and you felt it was time to put that down, but then God's been stirring a new thing in you. Tell us about that journey, like going from Delirious that's known, around the world, to now having to not reinvent yourself, but everyone knew the name Delirious. You know what I mean? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it'd be the same for some of you guys. Like you've got kids growing up, and whether you're a travelling salesman or you often people that work are away, or even if you're at home, it's busy, isn't it? It doesn't matter what we do, we're always seems to be busy. And I just knew that there was a cost to it. There's a cost to everything that's great, right? I mean, you can't have it all. You can't do something that people love and there not be a cost to it. So I was away a lot, and that was a big pressure on our family, on Anna. And I just got to the point where I realised that I'm not going to get my kids through their teenage years very well at all if I'm just away all the time. And I could see that my eldest son was 10, and I could just see that slight disconnect. And I just thought I don't really want to do that. Yeah. So it sounds like a huge decision, but it was actually quite a simple decision. I just thought, I think we're done. I just woke up one morning and I said to Anna, I think we're done. And that's what we did.
And that decision, I mean, that was a family decision for you, right? I mean, explain some of the dynamic.
Well, there were 5 families involved, and my wife has 2 older sisters, and the keyboard player was married to one of them, and the drummer was married to the other one. and the bass player was Anna's younger brother. So it was a real family thing. So to make a decision like that is affected everybody.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I miss. If I'm honest, I miss the impact part. Being part of something that had a big impact. We would arrive in a city and it would be a big thing. So my ego struggles with that, not having that sort of in my toolkit, Right. But actually in the last 10 years, God's sort of been doing other things, a bit more in the shadows. Yeah. And you have to trust that God knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I'm friends with all my kids and I'm still married.
That's good.
And so I think I did all right.
Yeah, you did. One of the things that you did a few years back was a thing called Compassion Art. And I'm going to let you talk about what happened there, but what I loved about that was how you showed the world how there's an importance between compassion and worship, how they both work together. One isn't for outside the church, and one's inside the church, but they actually work together. Can you share a bit about that? And
Yeah, I mean, we all know those passages in Isaiah. What this is your true worship. It's to break the chains of injustice and help the poor. So what we were just doing, singing together, is a really important thing. But it's only part of what we do, isn't it? If we just put our hands in the air, then that would only be half of the idea of worship. But really, it's sort of serving the poor and seeing broken people, made well. Hence the Dream Centre in the sky. So yeah, we had this crazy idea of gathering lots of songwriters from around the world. And a lot of people from America, actually. And we gathered for a week and we wrote loads of songs. And I managed to convince the managers and the publishers and the labels to release all of those people. And we now have a charitable trust that those songs sit in and they receive royalties. And we did some crazy things like, it's sort of... paying for some orphanages to start, and a project in Brazil. They needed a boat to get kids to school across the river, and we bought a boat, and just some amazing stuff. But all from those songs. Yeah. And so it was very fulfilling. And I think there's something else to come now. So.
Yeah. So, looking into the future for you, where do you see yourself in a few years, without giving too much of the tricks out the bag, but where do you see things moving forward for you?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a difficult question, isn't it?
I'm sorry. Wow, I stumped him. So,
wow.
Apart from coming back to Peoria in like a year or two and doing an event.
I'm going to be putting out a new record in May, and so I'm excited about that. So there'll be some new music and new songs, but possibly the bigger picture is trying to maybe harness some of the energy in the worship world to really sort of do some damage in terms of compassion. Yeah. There's a lot of money floating around in the music industry, and so I feel like I'm going to sort of try and sort of get hold of some of that and bring it in to do some sort of educational music project, maybe government related, where it's in the syllabus of schools and poor kids can get access to music and art. And that's what's on my heart anyway. Yeah. So there's something brewing there.
Yeah. Good. Well, we want to thank Martin for just sitting and chatting with us.
Thank you.